I think the Ravens will win that game.
Right.
Still don't know what happens with George Pickens yet, like as far as if he's going to play or not. That's going to be a big.
I don't know, man. That's because I've got him sitting on my fantasy IR
right
now.
You staked out a victory, which we all made it, except for sorry about it, Director Dave.
Sorry about it,
Heartbreaker. Sorry about it, Director Dave. Heartbreaker lost there.
Well, folks, Mama's wrong again.
Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome back to Bets and Buds. We're the Buds helping cash your bets. I am Jason Smokin Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back this holiday edition. We're coming up on Christmas here. Christmas, we got a football factory of fucking fun going on right now.
Yes, we do.
Oh, man. We sorry we missed you guys last week. We had some technical difficulties. So we had to make sure we missed that episode last week because we shot it and figured out we had no sound.
There was just no sound.
Yeah, no sound. So yeah, but we're back. We're back, everybody. We're back this week with live action for you here during this holiday season. The prime kickoff of football fun this whole weekend, man.
Oh, yeah.
We got college playoff action. We got football action on a Sunday. We got football action on a Thursday tonight. Like, we basically got football going on for the next fucking 5 days, 7 days actually.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be beautiful. Like this is a sweet spot. The only sad part about it, Bobby, is it's coming towards an end.
It is, because we're starting on week 16?
16, brother, 16. But that's all right. You know what? This is when it gets good. This is where it gets juicy. This is when the bets become a little bit more premium because we know like anybody who's eligible to play is going to play, and so I mean they're not holding anybody back at any moment at this point. So
we had decent weeks, both of us last week. We went 13-3 on the money line.
Yeah.
Man, you did okay on the spread and your over/under. I tanked the over/under.
Yeah, I was okay on my over/under. I mean, I think I was like right there. I think like was it 8-8 or 7-9, something like that.
I thought you went 9-7.
No, actually, no, I did. I went 9-7. Yeah, I went 9-7 of over/under.
Yeah, I went 5-10-1.
Which I need to make a makeup after the first couple of weeks. The over/unders were kicking my ass at the beginning of the season. So.
It's been the toughest one for both of us this year.
Yeah. So before we dive into this action here, let's go into the little Blues action here because the Blues have been playing some good hockey.
They have been playing good hockey.
Rough loss last night.
Yeah, they lost a rough one to New Jersey last night, but they're still 6-3-2 under Monty so far. They're 4 points out of the playoff spot, and you know what? You've still got 58 games to go in the season.
Right. Long way to go.
It's still 48 games left in the season. It's still a long way to go.
Long way to go.
I mean, this is around the time when the Blues won the Cup that they actually started to play decent. I mean, they didn't go on that run until after the new year.
Yeah, it was in the January as well. In the January when they started really going that run.
The Blues have plenty of time to get this done. Kyrie's stepping up his game. He's scoring a lot of goals lately, 6 in his last 7.
Robert Thomas has looked amazing.
Robert Thomas, since he's come back from that injury, has been on fire.
He's looked amazing.
He's been on fire.
One of your top centers in the NHL right now.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And then Holloway is actually, he's second on the team in goals.
That looks like a steal because he was almost like the throw-in guy.
Yeah, and he's the cheapest one of the two.
Absolutely.
So he's only making less than $3 million this year. I mean, now, can he sustain it? We'll see. Jake Neighbors right there chipping in the goals again. Mm-hmm. He'll have another 20-goal season, possibly even crack 30 this year. So
well, let's see what happens if they move Brandon Saad and get those numbers off the books too as well.
Because he's under contract for $4.5 million a year for the remainder of this year and next year. So if they can get under from that, the Blues are looking good. I like the way the goaltending's playing. I mean, it wasn't great last night, but that's one game.
Yeah, it's one game, and you know what? Hey, it looks like it might be the steal of the year if they're getting Jim Montgomery back in house.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that's beautiful.
For sure.
All right, so we got the college football playoffs, the first weekend of the CFP playoffs.
Yeah, this is a big one.
12-team playoff. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting. So to start off on Friday night, we got Indiana versus Notre Dame. Versus Notre Dame.
They don't want blowouts in these games.
They don't, but I mean, you know what? Who gives a shit what they want? It's all about what the
it's how the teams play.
But here's one thing, and I will throw this out here before I lay out what I think I want to see happen. And what I'm going to throw is my juice on these games here. I'll tell you how I can see this going. Just because of the fact the way they seeded this, these seeds don't really mean a whole lot. They really don't. When you're talking about college players, because I mean, Oregon got screwed. Oregon got screwed as far as having to go on the Ohio State, Tennessee side. Right. I mean, just everything. There were so many ways that this could have gone, should have gone the total opposite for the way they seeded this, and they really kind of misfired, and they probably have to fix this next year. They really will.
Now, did they seed? Is it bank on conference rankings or
conference rankings? But I mean, Boise State getting the 4th ranking, and then just how everything kind of fell the way it did.
I thought they got the 3rd.
Oh, they might have got the 3rd.
Yeah,
they might have got the 3rd. Yeah, but. So I mean, I kind of focus on just this week here going on.
Yeah, that's all.
But either way, I mean, just even when you look at Arizona State getting a bye, I mean, there's so many teams right now that really should have probably been on the opposite end of this spectrum, like going into this. So like that, I mean, there's a bet that I like as I'm going into this. We'll start out as far as we got Indiana and Notre Dame, the in-state rivalry. Indiana's a 7.5 point a dog going into Notre Dame, going into South Bend. You know what? Like if you look at the Ohio State game when Indiana lost, the only loss they had on the season. The only reason why they lost that game was they actually gave up 14 points on punt coverage. Right. I mean, they had a block punt, and they also had a punt return for a touchdown. So those two plays right there were kind of big momentum swings. They weren't prepared to like have the. When I listened to Signetti, he talked about like he really wasn't ready to prepare. Like he never operated on a silent count. And he said he would never do it again. Right. It just was a bad indicator for the defense on when to go, when not to go. And so, I mean, you know what? This is going to be a tough game either way around. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so you know what I mean. And Notre Dame has played great defense. The only thing I'm scared about is that Riley Leonard. I'm not a big fan of Riley Leonard as far as his passing game because if you put Riley Leonard in third and longs consistently, that's not a winning formula. Okay. Notre Dame has stepped up with Julian Love. Has had an unbelievable season as far as running the football and being very dominant. Their offense, I mean, their defense has been very solid, and they've been able to run the ball very solid to control games.
I think Notre Dame wins this game.
I think so too. I think Notre Dame wins this game, but we'll see what happens. And like I said, I'll kind of lay that out a little bit.
Indiana, yes, they've been a good team this year, but they've really only played the one big game so far. They did lose that game, and then they got to go into Notre Dame, South Bend, and I mean that place is going to be rocking.
It's going to be rocking, but the thing is, they're playing Indiana. And so there's going to be some IU fans that probably were Notre Dame fans for many, many years because how bad IU sucked. Right. But now they got the new excitement of that, IU. So you never know what's going to happen in that. Again,
I like Notre Dame.
There's a reason why I don't bet on college kids, and I'll explain that after I get through this a little bit farther. All right, so next up we got SMU. SMU was ranked as the 11th team overall against Penn State. Yep. So Penn State made it to the Big Ten championship game, and so they're the 6th seed going into this, and they're hosting against SMU. They've had a hard time selling out these tickets right now. So I mean, because it's a hard place to fly into. So I mean, they really had a hard time selling these tickets. 8.5 points.
And it's SMU. Is anybody really that excited to see the Mustangs?
They need to be, though, because here's the thing. I mean, that's a sleeping giant ready to roar. Because
it is. I mean, considering everything they've gone through in the history of their program.
I mean, and they're playing out of Dallas. I mean, it's big money there, man. I mean, it is big money in the city of Dallas. I mean, you know that. So
surprised it took as long as it did for them to come back.
Well, because this is just now. We were like 4 years in this open Wild West playing field of what you can do, recruiting and throwing money to players and everything else like that. So I mean, yeah. So you got the NIL, the whole nine. So the SMU is 8.5 point dogs in this. 8.5 point dogs.
I got Penn winning this one at home.
See, my problem with this is like Penn State doesn't win big games. So
they don't.
So I would pick SMU to cover.
Okay.
I would pick SMU to cover. 8.5 points. I would pick them to cover. All right, so the next up we got Clemson versus Texas. Texas is another one of those teams that got a cupcake schedule in the SEC coming off. But their two toughest games were against Georgia, and they lost both of those games against Georgia. Really, they didn't really get contested by anybody outside of Texas A&M as a big team.
Well, that's a funny thing, too, because next year they're going to play this exact same schedule, just flip the home and away.
Right, exactly, pretty much. So we'll see what happens. Clemson is a 12-point dog in this one. I actually like Clemson to cover in this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Clemson to cover in this game.
So Texas to win this one ultimately.
You know what? I'm going to save that for my little honey spot here in a second, brother. I will. I'm going to save that for my little honey spot in a second. Because here's why. I don't trust betting on college kids. Right. But I look for those little, fool's gold. I look for a little fool's gold here in this shit. So we'll see what happens. So next up, then we got Tennessee at Ohio State.
This is probably the most interesting game.
This is probably the most interesting game. They did a good job by the scheduling committee by putting this the last game of the evening and in prime time here in the horseshoe. Mm-hmm. Tennessee is 7-point dogs. Yep. I would probably definitely pick Tennessee to cover this. I would definitely pick Tennessee to cover 7 points.
I like Tennessee to go in and win.
I do too. I mean, I really do too. And so so here's where I would get to before we jump into our pro slate here. So because I don't want to spend too much time in this college football shit. But so if you pick every underdog to win in this first round right now, it pays out at plus 15,916.
15,000.
960. If every dog won.
So basically 16.
Yes, basically 16. So it's not far-fetched that can happen just because how closely matched up these teams are. So that would be the bet I'm very tempted to throw into. Is even being a Notre Dame fan, just throwing that dog in there.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. But then I also did another bet that if you had Notre Dame win, but all the other dogs win, 65-48 would be the payout on that one too. That's still a nice little juice there. And I mean, like I said, I can see these games going either way. Either way. So that's what I laid out there for the college football. Our first inaugural college football playoff season here.
It's going to be an interesting one.
It will.
I mean, if let's say Notre Dame just blows Indiana out of the water, I mean, that's not a good look for Indiana right there.
Right. And I don't see Notre Dame blowing them out of the water just because of the fact, like I said, it's not a big travel game. Right. Everybody knows the elements.
Just right
you got a lot of fans that are going to be like, oh, right there. I mean, it's literally like Bloomington's an hour and a half away from South Bend. So, I mean, it's like really nothing travel. I can see as long as they can fit and get the tickets, like, because Notre Dame fans are pretty solid on booking their tickets. I mean, I think they had the highest ticket price for resale value at like $1,100. I mean, $1,100 for one single, no matter where you sat in the stadium, you were going to pay $1,100. As opposed to at Penn State. Penn State right now, you're getting tickets at like $60 a ticket. Like $60 a ticket right now. So that's not a good look for Penn State right now. But again, they have a hard place to fly into, hard hotel accommodation. So we'll see what happens.
Right. Okay, before we move on to pro, real quick, I heard this on the way in. Arenado has turned down another trade.
Really?
To Houston this time.
Really?
Yeah, to Houston.
Oh, wow.
So that's all I got on the baseball front.
All right. Hot stove is heating up, and we don't know shit else but that.
That's it.
All right. All right, so we're going to start off this big Week 16 slate here. We got the Broncos and the Chargers on Thursday night.
This is a big game.
It's a big game. It's a huge game. Broncos can lock up playoff position with this win here. Chargers can get themselves in a little bit more of a commanding position.
Give themselves a better cushion than the one game they have right now.
Exactly. So the Chargers are 2.5-point favorites at home. And then the over-under spread was at 42.5. Who do you like in this, Bobby?
Well, man, I really like the way Denver has been playing right now. I do not like the way the Chargers have been playing right now. I think the warts that have been covered up with the good running game that they had all year are starting to, with Dobbins being out.
Yeah, they're missing J.K. Dobbins.
Vidal and Edwards is just old now.
Yeah.
And Vidal, I mean,
Edwards
is a serviceable backup, but he's not going to be a main guy. So I like Denver. I'll take the 2.5 points. I like the under, and give me Denver to win.
Hey, we're in total agreement on that one. We're in total agreement. Because I feel I'm the same way. I like the way Denver's playing football right now. Yeah. I think the Chargers are just very offensively challenged because they don't have a lot of big play weapons.
No.
Doesn't mean big plays can't happen, but that Denver defense is very solid. Running the ball on them is going to be very difficult.
That Dobbins injury hurt.
Yeah, that Dobbins injury hurt them tremendously. Because, I mean, even if he comes back, I mean, how explosive is he going to be, at this stage? So, all right, so next up we got the Saturday slate. So first Saturday slate here in the NFL. So it's going to be a busy weekend on college football because we got college football, 3 games with college football, 2 games for the NFL. We got the Texans at the Chiefs. The Texans going to Kansas City here.
The Texans have clinched their division. So I mean, how does that play into their game planning?
They still want to go. They still want to try and make sure they get.
They still want to make it a good position in division. But I think they're going to be the 3rd seed division, or actually the 4th. They'll be the 4th.
Yeah, they'll be the 4th seed.
What they do.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, they'll be the 4th seed division, possibly. So, pretty much. I mean, they're going to have to be.
Yeah,
but they still got to play their way out.
They do. You don't want to sit anybody too early and get into that.
And you don't want to be playing bad football going into the playoffs. No.
But with that being said, this is in Kansas City on a Saturday, big stage. Give me Kansas City to cover that 3 points. The over 41.5, and Kansas City to win the game.
All right, so here's where I went the opposite of you on this one. I actually picked the Texans at being 3-point dogs on the road. Think it's going
to be another Kansas City close one?
Well, I actually think the Texans are actually going to win this game outright. Okay. Here's the reason why. Because they got Carson Wentz. You got Carson Wentz is going to be
he's going to be starting for Kansas City.
Because I mean, right now they're saying Patrick Mahomes may play, but I think that's going to be a foolish play on his part because he has to turn around and play again on Wednesday on Christmas Day. So he's got to turn around. Right. So I mean, if the Chiefs were smart, they got a 2-game lead on the Buffalo Bills right now. So sit Mahomes right now. Give him a few more days, let that high ankle sprain heal a little bit. Regardless, I know he wants to play, but I think that's going to be tough for him to play back-to-back games in a 4-day stretch.
Okay, so no faith in Wentz.
No, hell no. Okay. Carson Wentz, no, especially because here's what's going to rear their ugly head. I think with these Chiefs, unless they do something like very dramatic, that offensive line is so porous. It is going to be a struggle. So I like the Texans to go in there and win, cover the 3 points, obviously, and I like the under at 41.5.
All right, complete opposite. 1 for 1.
All right, so next up we got another Saturday game. The Steelers at the Ravens. Rematch of the Steelers winning that heavy-duty matchup that first time around.
They did, but that one was in Pittsburgh.
Yes, it was.
That was one of the reasons we picked them to win that game.
Right.
So just for that same reason, I like Baltimore to actually win this one at home.
I'm with you. What'd you get on the spread on that one?
I have 6,
I got
but
6.5.
I'll take the 6 points for Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm with you on that one. I'll take 6. I have 6.5, so I definitely take 6 in the hook for Pittsburgh to cover that. I think the Ravens will win that game. Right. Still don't know what happens with George Pickens yet, like as far as if he's going to play or not. That's going to be a big. I don't know,
man. That's because I've got him sitting on my fantasy IR right now.
You staked out a victory, which we all made it, except for sorry about it, Director Dave.
Sorry about it,
Heartbreaker. Sorry about it, Director Dave. Heartbreaker loss there. And so, I like the over on that one.
I like the over on this one too. So we're in agreement on this one.
All right, so next up, we got to the Sunday slate now. We got the Browns and the Bengals. Browns and the Bengals, which famous Jameis has been benched for DTR.
He's been benched for DTR.
The DTR.
So that takes another one of my wide receivers basically out. Jerry Jeudy now is probably going to have to go to the damn bench because DTR cannot throw the ball. He can't.
Not like Jameis. Like Jameis. But the only problem with Jameis is he turns the ball over. Because, he allows your receivers to make plays.
Okay, Robinson's got 12 career appearances in the game. He's got 3 starts. In his career, he's thrown 1 touchdown and 7 picks. He's not good. He's not good. So Cincinnati covers this 7.5 points. I actually like the under because I don't think Cleveland scores anything, and Cincinnati to win.
See, I actually like Cleveland to cover this just with it being 7.5.
Okay.
So I like Cleveland to cover it only because of how porous the Bengals defense has been.
It's pretty porous.
It really has been tough. But the thing is, if they start putting up a lot of points going up on an offense-wise, I can see the Bengals covering in that capacity. But I think the Bengals will win this game. I like the over in this one too, as well at 46.5. Yes, I like the over at 46.5.
I mean, the Bengals could hit it themselves.
Yeah, so that's where I was kind of leaning at more. The Bengals hit it themselves. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
And Chubb is going to be out.
Yeah, Chubb is out.
He's done for the season. Yeah. Jerome Ford is going to be here,
and he's been balling though, man.
He has been good. Believe me, I wish I still had him on my roster.
Yeah. He's been very explosive, very explosive. You're welcome, Director Dave, for Nick Chubb. You're welcome. All right. Next up, we got the Cardinals at Panthers. Cardinals at the Panthers. The Panthers were the first-time favorites and got beat down by the Cowboys last week.
They did.
They got beat down and dominated by the Cowboys last week.
Cowboys just they like to win on the road.
No, they've been winning on the road all season long. It's at home is where the problem has been.
I think Arizona's fighting for their lives in this one. I think they actually go into Carolina and win this game.
Yeah, I like the cover too at 4.5. I'm with you on that.
Oh, really? You like Arizona to cover?
Oh, well, I told you this is my cover team all season.
I think actually Carolina keeps this one close, but ultimately Arizona wins. And I like the under as well.
Okay, you like the under. See, I like the over on this one at 46.5. Okay. Just because I can see this, like Carolina's been able to put up a few more points than what they have been the whole season long. And I think the Cardinals are going to be able to run the ball and kind of control the clock a little bit. Have some big plays with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. Okay. I think they're just going to be tough to stop. So I just all the way around, I kind of feel like it's a clean sweep for the Cardinals and them to get the over. All right, so next up we got the Eagles at the Commanders, another division rivalry here.
This should be an entertaining
This will be a very entertaining game. This one always is.
But I think the Eagles are just firing on all cylinders.
They really are.
Even with the infighting in the locker room, I just don't think it matters.
A lot of people feel like it's been a little contrived as far as that argument and fighting.
Well, it's working for them.
To develop that me against the world attitude.
So I like Philly to actually cover the 3.5 here. Give me the over and Philly to go into Washington and win this game.
All right, so we're in a total disagreement on this one because I actually like the Commanders in this game. Like when I look back in the history of these two teams, it's like again we talked about this. This really isn't a road game.
No,
just because of the fact that it's a very short travel for both teams. Eagles could show up and they're going to come into place, but I think the Commanders are actually going to play well at home, cover that 3.5 points, actually, and then pull out the victory here. Okay. I feel like they're going to pull out a victory, some late game heroics, and I like the over at 45.5 on this one because I'm still not sold on that passing game completely. The Steelers kind of gave them a little bit of luxury last week. If they gave them like that single high safety, a lot of man looks, right. AJ Brown and man, Devontae Smith and man, and the command like that's not Dan Snyder. I mean Dan Quinn's. That's not his defensive style. MO. He's not going to be playing any man up. He's going to be a lot of zone coverage. And so if Jalen's not reading the field very well, I can see that being a big pullout for the Washington Commanders.
So Washington under. In Washington, gotcha.
Yep, and I like that over.
Oh, you like the over?
Yeah, I like the over at 45.5. Yeah, I like the over at 45.5.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
All right, so next up, we got the Giants and the Falcons, where Kirk Cousins has been benched. Cousins has been benched. We got the debut of Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., the number 8 overall pick, after giving Kirk Cousins $180 million. Let's see what's going to happen. What do you think?
You don't know who the quarterback for the Giants is going to be. I think it's Tim Boyle, maybe.
I don't think there's any. Tommy DeVito?
Nah, I think he got hurt last week.
Oh, it's got to be Drew Lock then. They got to be.
I think he was hurt last week.
Oh, man, I have no fucking.
So it really doesn't matter. But I think this is actually going to be a Giants cover. They're getting 8.5 points. Yep. But Atlanta's Giants defense is not atrocious. They're atrocious.
They're on the field too much.
Yeah,
they're on the field too much.
They're
on the field too much.
Give me the under in this one, but Atlanta pulls out the victory at home.
All right, so I'm with you on everything except for I like the over at 41.5. Okay. What'd you get the over and under?
I got 42.
42? Okay, so that's DraftKings has 42. I got 41.5 through FanDuel. All right, next up we got the Titans at the Colts. The Colts with God.
Yeah, they blew that one, didn't they?
Jesus. I mean, thank God I did not need that touchdown from Jonathan Taylor right there at the end. Thank God I didn't need that because I would hate him for the rest of my life. I would hate that. Like, I'm telling you right now, if I had lost that matchup last week, I would hate Jonathan Taylor for the rest of my fucking life.
I'm sure somebody did.
Oh, no, I'm sure there is. I'm sure they're dropping the ball. For when is that became a thing?
I'm not sure.
I get it when Deshaun Jackson did. Like, that should have been it for everybody in the NFL. Once that happened with him.
Yeah, one time.
I'm sorry, but I need to be clear. Apparently, these dudes have scored way too many touchdowns in their life to be that comfortable dropping the ball. Yeah, to be that nonchalant, like running all the way down 40 yards for a touchdown, and you drop the ball a half yard before you get to the end zone. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So, and not to mention that pick six that they threw on that, that receiver pass. I mean, like the dude fucking set the laces.
Onto the end.
Yes, he caught a receiver screen thrown across the field. He had to make sure he set the laces before he gunned that ball. I mean, of course, a linebacker. He could. Oh, apparently he turned into Ed Reed. No, he didn't turn into Ed Reed. He turned into a defensive player for anybody who ever played defense in the NFL ever. So, I mean, that was a terrible, terrible play. But with that being said,
Tennessee's just
Tennessee is like absolutely like a train wreck. So I see this is a Colts home game. Colts, I think, are going to win this game. They're 3.5 point favorites. I think they're going to cover. And I like the over at this one as well.
Okay, give me the under in this one. I could see this being like a couple weeks ago, that 10-6 Tennessee Jaguar.
I always, the only reason why I say a little opposite because I feel like the Colts offense is a little bit more prolific than that.
It is.
And then their defense is suspect enough to give enough plays away to where they're going to, they can give up 16 points and then score.
Pollard hasn't scored in like 3 or 4 weeks.
No, he scored last week.
Did he score?
Yeah, he scored last week because he's on my fantasy team and he was on my bench. And I was
scored
because I had a call between him and Jameson Williams. And then thankfully, like Jameson Williams got in the end zone too as well. Williamson, he got in the end zone too as well last week. So because I felt like when I made the decision between those two guys, it was like, okay, Williamson has a lot more probability to have a big blow up game than what Tony Pollard's going to have. So that's kind of where I went now. But he did get in the end zone last week, and he scored 11 points fantasy wise. All right. So next up we got the Lions at the Bears. The Lions who've been decimated again. David Montgomery is out. David Montgomery is not out for the season. They lost another defensive tackle again. You got about 21 players on the IR for these Lions.
It's pretty bad right now.
I mean, you know what? That's Detroit football. Even when they got a chance to be the most dominant team in the NFL, I don't think any team has ever been so decimated by injuries as had such a dominant team. I mean, really don't. Who do you like in this one, Bobby?
I still think Detroit can win this game, though. Chicago just... they've lost 9 in a row now since Hail Mary.
It's been ugly. Caleb Williams looked bad last week.
Yeah, just his body language and everything.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've seen the
leaning
videos.
and bobbing on the sidelines. And I mean, I had one of my friends. He was his son was a player in high school, and he was a good dominant player, 4-year starter, varsity starter. And one of the reasons I knew he might have a problem was because one of the plays he had picked up a fumble and it ran it back like 50 yards for a touchdown. And then when I watched his body language after the play, and he's rolling on the bench. Oh my god! And I said, dude, that's a bad look, man. You don't understand. Like, scouts are gonna look at that and be like, dude, he's not in shape because it was wasn't even like it was a playoff game. It wasn't like it was like the first couple games of the season.
He's been playing.
This was like the end. It was like the end of the season. So anyway, like body language is something that you have to make sure. Like, I mean, that speaks volumes. It does. It speaks volumes, and so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, the Bears have always been a dumpster fire. That's why they're the only team to not have a 4,000-yard passer ever in the history of their team.
But the Bears kept this one close when they played a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but they're a lot more demoralized.
They are a lot more demoralized this time. But the weather could be a factor this weekend a little bit. It gets windy up in Chicago. Detroit's not playing indoors. I like Detroit to win. I like the over, but I like Chicago to cover this 6.5.
See, I like the Lions to cover this game. I've been with you on every other thing. You say you like the over too as well. What you have the over at?
48.
Yeah, 48. I had 47.5. Okay. So I like the Lions to actually cover this game though. I mean, and the reason why is because they're built more for cold weather than what the Bears are.
Okay.
The Bears went outside in as far as how they built that team.
Right.
And you have to go inside out when you're a team that plays in Chicago, especially this time of year. And they don't have that like tough, gritty, pound you in the face, like I'm going to go at you.
No, they really don't.
And they just don't. So I feel like the Lions, when it comes down to it, are going to be able to pound them into submission.
Okay.
Because you still, even though they lost Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs is a fucking dog.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a dog.
And they've got that rookie too, Vaya or Siki.
You know what? We haven't had to learn his name yet.
Yeah, but you might see him.
We will probably figure it out this week for sure. Absolutely. All right. So the next up, we got the Rams and the Jets. Jets coming off a big victory. Rams coming off a big victory.
Yeah, Rams taking sole possession of first place in
Yes,
that
it is.
division.
Yes,
I mean, it's theirs to lose now.
Yes, it is. If they went out, they're in.
Yeah.
I mean, they went out and they're the champions of that NFC West. But I got them as 3-point favorites here going into New York.
I've got 3.5.
Got 3.5?
I think they cover this 3.5. Give me the over. I think because you showed the Jets can still put up some points. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I kind of went under in this game just because I felt like I don't know what the weather is going to be like in this game. It's going to be kind of suspect. I got it at 46.5, but I like the Rams to win this game.
Yeah, the Rams ultimately.
And the cover, too, as well. I just feel like the Rams are playing so much better football. The Jets are barely, like, squeaking out victories. I mean, even last week, they got the victory, but, it was kind of like, yeah, we got it, but, it shouldn't have been that much of a dogfight, honestly.
No, it shouldn't.
But it was because
playing.
Yeah, but that's what it's been, I guess, this year for the Jets. So they've lost me enough money this season. So I'm not going back and riding with the Jets anymore. All right, next up we got the Vikings at the Seahawks. Seahawks with a tough loss. We got to see how healthy Geno Smith is going into this week.
Vikings still rolling right along.
Yes, they can be they're in for the first round seed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If Geno's out, the Vikings definitely win this game.
Yes.
I still think the Vikings win this game, even with Geno.
Right.
But I like the under 43.5. I'm not sure what you got.
I got it at 42.5.
42.5.
Yeah, I got 42, but I like the under 2 as well, even at 42.
And then Minnesota to cover that 3 points.
Well, see, I actually I got 3.5. And 3 in the hook is what made me go with Seattle.
Okay.
I can see it go down the field goal game and be kind of close in that end. But I like the Vikings to win that game too as well, though.
Yeah, they're just rolling along. I mean, I don't know that Sam Darnold's ever going to be the man, but...
You know what? Either way, he's got himself paid this year.
Trent Dilfer's got a ring. So.
Sam Darnold got himself paid this year. Thank KOC for the rest of his life. Kevin O'Connell was the quarterback whisperer.
Sure.
Thank him for the rest of your life, dude. He got you paid. Because whether you get paid by the Vikings for another 2-3 year Baker Mayfield type contract, or somebody else comes and gets you off free agency, gives you $40-50 million
like
a year.
Raiders.
Either way, yeah. Because you got to take it. At that point, Sam Darnold was on his way to being out of the league. So if somebody gives you $40-50 million out this offseason, which is the going market for, Daniel Jones got fucking 45.
He got 50, yeah.
Yeah, he got 45. I think is what it was. Yeah. So Daniel Jones got that. Sam Darnold has shown he's way more prolific of passer than what Daniel Jones ever will be in his life. All right, so in that capacity here, we talked about that. So we talked about the Vikings and the Giants. We got the Patriots and the Bills up next. Yep. The Bills are looking like the fucking wagon of the AFC right now.
I tell you what, man, they're tough. They are tough.
They are looking like the wagon. This is a 14.5 point spread. I don't usually like these, but this is how the spread was last week of the Ravens, and I decided to stick with it.
You called it.
And I said, you know what, fuck that. I got to go with that. I'd be a fool to not go with this. I feel the same way because the only way I can see the Patriots keeping up in this game, because the Patriots don't have the defense.
No, they don't.
They don't have the defense. They don't have the offensive line.
Buffalo's going to score.
Yeah, so Buffalo's going to score, and they don't have the offensive line to pound the ball and keep the ball away from Buffalo.
Okay.
So they had 14.5 points. I like the Bills to actually cover this game. Yes, and I like them to win it, obviously, at home. And I like the over at 46.5, more because of the Bills and not because of the Patriots.
I like the Bills to win and the over 46.5. Like I said, the Bills will probably put up 56 on their own. But, man, I got to go with the 14 points again.
But okay, so if you say they're going to score 56, how the fuck are you, like the Patriots are not going to score over 20 in this game.
No.
They are not going to score. So and that's what swayed me from not going against them not going with them in the spread. Because I'm like, okay, Buffalo has scored over 30 points, I think, more than anybody else in the NFL this year.
All right, you've talked me out of it. You talked me out of it. That's rare.
It is. That's just tough, man. Because that's what made me because you know me, I don't like those big ass spreads in the NFL.
I know.
But when I looked at it, I was like, there's no way in hell Buffalo's going to the Patriots going to be able to keep up with
Well, I can't wait to talk about the next one then.
Okay, all right. Oh, gee. This one was a quandary for me. This was a big quandary for me. The Niners and the Dolphins. Niners and the Dolphins.
Same thing for me. It's like, which Niners team is actually going to show up? Which Dolphins team is going to show up?
You know what?
But did you see that stat on Mike McDaniels? Since he's become the head coach, they are 3-14 against teams with winning records. I know the Niners don't have a winning record, but they are a winning team.
I mean, yeah, they are. I mean, this is going to be. I mean, it's a long trip for San Francisco. I mean, you got to think you're going from way north California
all the way down to
way
Miami.
down to South Beach. So that's a big travel game. But again, I think the Niners are like a lot more veteran leadership. I think on that team, and I mean they're kind of got an outside chance, but not really at this point. I mean, they pretty much are kind of looking on the next year and kind of seeing what they got to do and how to reconfigure.
They would need everybody in their division to pretty much fall apart.
That window has kind of closed for them. They're going to have to kind of reconfigure their team a little bit. But I don't have a lot of faith in the Dolphins and how they run their organization. I really don't.
Not right now.
You got Draymond Greenlaw. I mean, even though you had Devondre Campbell with that, like I almost feel like that could be a galvanizing thing for this team to say we got this little bitch ass motherfucker that quit on us. Let's go out, let's play ball together and let's get us our core Niners. Let's get this thing together.
I like the Niners go down.
I do too. I got them as 1.5 point dogs on the road. I like them to go and win this game, cover the spread. I like the under at 44.5.
Okay, I like the over.
You like the over?
Just because Miami and both of these teams can be explosive.
They can be, but they did a breakdown and there's a lot of little intricacies and why it's such a drop off once Tua's not in the lineup. He was talking about plays he has to run and like the motions that go in, and you got 9 seconds on the playoff and on the play clock.
I did see that.
Yeah, on the play clock and everything. I mean, that's a tough thing you ask for any quarterback, let alone a quarterback who's a backup that doesn't know the intricacies of that offense. And sometimes as a coach, you got to learn to adapt and simplify. Kind of like if I look at like Matt LaFleur. When Jordan Love went out early this season, he dumbed down that offense from Malik Willis, and he said, I'm going to do what's going to make it strong, and he made it work. So that's what I'd like to see out of Mike McDaniel a little bit more, maybe make some more adjustments for his offense, because he's got weapons like Achane and Mostert, and Jonnu Smith, and like do some other little intricacies in your offense that doesn't put so much stress on the quarterback to make so many plays every single time.
Jonnu has had another monster year.
Oh, yeah, he's had a monster year. That's what the Dolphins have been waiting for their offense since that was what they were hoping for with Gesicki when he brought that first ugly gritty.
Right.
So, all right, next up we got the Jaguars at the Raiders. Yeah,
I don't know. This is probably stinker of the week right now.
Oh, this is the game of the week for sure. This is definitely the game. Like, who cares?
Vegas is probably going back to O'Connell this weekend.
Is he back healthy?
Yeah. Well, as far as the fantasy site goes, they're saying he's probably going to play this week.
He almost has to. I mean, like, this has to be the last. Like, I don't even think he should be a backup to anybody again. Desmond Ridder looks so
he's not
fucking
good. He's not good.
Bad in that game. I mean, like, Desmond Ridder looks so bad. It was a sickly game. I mean, that was because I watched that because I had a little juice going on in that. Like, I had a little whole 8-leg parlay between the two games and stuff. I mean, Desmond Ridder, Brock Bowers was able to do some productivity, but oh my God,
but not really. He only had 3 catches for 35.
Yeah, and that was all in the first quarter.
Yeah,
and then once they just said, okay, we're gonna lock up Brock Bowers. Desmond. He was so uncomfortable in the pocket. Oh no, he was so uncomfortable in the pocket. You could see it. Every time it was like a deer in headlights, man. As soon as that first initial rush came, he'd step up to the pocket. He was either throwing it away or throwing it in the dirt. It was or take it off and running. It was a bad look. So prayerfully for the Raiders, Desmond Ridder's not the starter again this week.
Even though Jacksonville lost last weekend, they looked pretty good on offense. They didn't look terrible. Maybe Mac Jones is starting to find something. That's why I like Jacksonville to win this game. Is basically what I'm saying. Give me that 1 point, and I like the under.
I had him at 1.5, but I'm in total agreement, and I like the under too as well. I had it 39.5. What'd you get it at?
40. I got 40.
Okay, so DraftKings has 40. I had 39.5 through FanDuel. All right, next up we got the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. Buccaneers have been looking like a monster. Baker Mayfield keeping me in that fantasy playoff run,
Dallas has been playing well lately. Picking up some wins.
Yes, they have. But they lost Overshown last week.
Yeah, and they're at home this week. So.
Yeah, and they're at home, which has not been a good calling card for them all season long.
They're about to lose at home again this week to go to 1-7. If they lose this weekend, they'll be 1-7 at home.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I like the Buck. I got them at 3.5 point favorites.
I've got 4. I like them to cover.
Yeah, I like them to cover. I like them to win. Yep. I like the over at 48.5 too.
Yeah, we're in agreement.
So we're in total agreement on that one. I think this is kind of we're simpatico on that one because Cowboys, we kind of seen what we seen the whole season. And the Buccaneers, you know what? Baker Mayfield is a dog.
Mike Evans has been balling.
Yeah, Mike Evans has been balling. And like I said, Baker has been, he's been my fantasy quarterback that I've been riding with most of the season. So, again, when I tell you guys, when you look at your fantasy quarterbacks, you all that reach for Patrick Mahomes, you guys that reach for Lamar Jackson, you reach for those Jalen Hurts, all those guys that early draft picks. Baker Mayfield is a guy who's been very serviceable.
But in our league, I will say this. We have the 1, 2, 8, and 4 ranked quarterbacks. The last 4 left. So everybody's got a top 10.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, top 10. But, I mean, again, you don't have to reach for those guys at the top.
You don't.
Yeah, I mean, as long as your team is solid all the way around. And then, again, there's that dumb luck of fantasy football.
I did reach for my guy because I had no fucking running backs, and my guy's a running beast.
All right. So in the last game of this slate here, we got the Saints and the Packers. This is another huge spread here. 14.5-point dogs. The Saints are going to Green Bay. This was the one I was wondering,
because I think the Saints covered. Green Bay's good. Don't get me wrong. They're going to win this game. There's no doubt about it. Just 14's a lot.
Yeah, I got 14.5. I picked the Saints to cover this too as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked the Saints to cover this one. I think Green Bay's going to win. I like the over at 42.5.
Yep.
Yep, so we're in total agreement on that one. All right, so we're in total agreement. So that's a Week 16 slate. Week 16 slate.
All right, I got one I'll throw out for you guys. All right, give us Sutton for Denver, Nakua, Anthony Richardson to run one in this weekend, and Thomas Jr. for Jacksonville to score. That is plus 3,000.
Oh, nice. I like that. All right, so that means you got to get over there early. All right, so here's my Thursday night special. This is what I threw out there for you guys. I like to give that primetime parlay. I got the Cortland Sutton anytime touchdown. Cortland Sutton also over 62.5 yards receiving. Also, Cortland Sutton again over 5.5 yards 5.5 receptions. So basically 6 receptions. Lab McConkey over 64.5 yards receiving yards. I'm only worried about that because of the cornerback matchup. So that's probably my one that if I would be my problem to hit would be that one right there. Okay. But Lab McConkey's a really only explosive weapon they have, and they'll move. They really have as far as explosiveness.
And they move them all over.
And they move them all around. So I feel like they can. And Harbaugh's a great smart coach as far as that capacity. But I also like Bo Nix and Justin Herbert over 200 plus passing yards. Okay. And then was it how do you say it? Kilmani Vidal Vidal over 8.5 yards reception. 8.5 yards receiving yards. Yes, because
Gus Edwards does not
Gus Edwards is not going to catch any balls out of the backfield. So in third down situations, you got Vidal who's going to be in that game.
Okay. I like that.
That's at plus 32.89. So that's a 7-leg parlay. 7-leg parlay at plus 32.89.
Ooh, plus 7 legs, huh?
Yeah, 7 legs, brother. But again, the only touchdown I'm banking on is Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton just has to have a ball in game. So if Cortland Sutton shits the bed, my bet is done. I mean, that's pretty much
he shouldn't. I mean, he didn't have a great week last week.
But he scored a touchdown.
But he did score a touchdown.
So, all right. So we got Director's Dave's dumbass pick of the week. We got anytime touchdown score.
Lamar Jackson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Devontae Adams. Go ahead,
James Cook, Davon Achane, CeeDee Lamb, and Romeo Doubs plus 17,799. Woo!
Not bad.
That's a nice one. That's one I'm scratch off. That's the ultimate scratch off right there, Director Dave. That's the ultimate scratch off right there, brother.
I like it.
All right, so man, this shit has been flying by.
Because I got none of those guys.
Yeah, this shit has been flying off way too fast. We got big action next week. So we got the Wednesday game coming up next week, so we're gonna probably shoot a little early for you guys.
Yep.
And get this slow slate going on because we're going to have football on this week on Thursday, on Saturday, on Sunday. And then we got Monday, and then we got Wednesday, then we got Thursday, and I think we're back again on another Saturday again. So, man, we're rolling.
The Saturday games.
This is going to be – I'm sorry, family. I love you, but guess what? It's the heart of the NFL season. So, you know what? I'll see you after Christmas and into the new year. And so, once again, baby, we're going to make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Add to the comment section. Shout out to Director Dave, keeping us up on the ones and twos. Shout out to True on the Track for blessing us with those beats. I'm Jason Smokin Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.